What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to the Warframe video. So today we're talking about how Prime Access is basically in the dumps nowadays. It used to be something that people got excited for regularly, and now it's just it already was a reskin that just had slightly higher stats, but they've gotten, I'd say, actually lazy with it the last couple of Prime Accesses here. So before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the channel so you can keep up to date on the videos. Maybe even put on notifications, because I've heard that the notifications get deactivated quite regularly on YouTube. So if you want to make sure you see them when they go up, check that bell. Alright, so the Astilla Prime and the Volnus Prime are the defendants today. And I want to just first off with these weapons look really cool. They look really, really cool. The Volnus Prime, I kind of wish it was an axe, but it looks awesome. The Astilla Prime is gigantic, and I think it's just like a lot bigger than the Astilla Prime that is normally. But then here comes the problem. So, for the Astilla Prime, we have some slightly higher stats. In the critical chance department, the magazine department is actually a lot higher, and then we've got 4% more status chance as well. So 4% more crit chance, 4% more status chance, and 30 more base damage, which is about a 20-something% increase in base damage. And that's it. There's nothing unique about this weapon. It has lesser Riven stats, so if we were to look at my normal Astilla with the Riven mod, it is going to be about less than half the stats. So on my normal Astilla, we've got 137.2% multi-shot and 101% crit chance. When we go to the Astilla Prime, for a 4% more status chance, 4% more crit chance, we're looking at about the stats getting cut in half. So now we've got 57% multi-shot and 42% crit chance, so actually lower than half. And this is on a full build. But here's the thing. These weapons are not different enough that if I was to put a universal shotgun skin on here, let's say I put this universal shotgun skin on here, with the full build, and you can't tell them different. If you rename these weapons, put a skin on both of them, you would not be able to tell which one is which. They are not different enough that you could tell with a full build and renamed weapons which one is different. I think that is unacceptable. Because here's my entire argument today. These Prime Accesses that come out are the only thing that is a structured release in this game. We get Prime Accesses basically on the dot every 3 months. And so we should be getting these should be actually pretty much new weapons. If you guys remember the Piranha Prime, if you remember the Tiburon Prime, even the Karis Prime, I'd say is similar. Those weapons were Prime Access weapons that were unique enough that they actually felt like they were special. For example, the Karis Prime, it had a lot higher base damage than the normal version. It also had a lot higher base stats than the normal version, and it was actually slower. It was like a heavy blade dagger. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing we didn't have before. I guess we didn't have a heavy blade dagger before, but it was a unique weapon. And they do these Prime Accesses every 3 months. We don't get anything else structured in this game. We don't even get release dates for these updates most of the time. It's basically, when it comes out, it comes out. So I feel like they should be putting more effort into Prime Access, especially, I'm not even talking about how the fact they sell this to us. They want us to buy it, rather. It comes with some cosmetics and stuff, and also a good amount of platinum, too. It's technically a platinum discount if you were to buy platinum without a discount code or anything like that. And I know it is the best way to buy platinum on console, but the Volnus Prime is underwhelming. We're talking about the Astilla Prime briefly. Let's not even forget about how it's a much higher mastery rank requirement for some of these weapons. For example, the Volnus Prime in particular, I know melee is super strong right now. The Volnus Prime is one of the highest mastery rank weapons in the entire game. It's mastery rank 14. And here are the upgrades we have to show for it. 2% more crit chance. 0.2% crit multiplier. And you see all this red and stuff right here, you're like, oh, look at all these stats got buffed. No, because mostly that's just the base damage. This slam attack damage, the slam attack radius is slightly higher for some reason. But yes, all this stuff right here, all that red, that's just from the base damage. So you can cut a bunch of that out and just focus on the base damage. The base damage is slightly higher, 30 more base damage. But it also, I think the slash, you actually will proc slash less on the Volnus Prime versus the normal Volnus, just because how the damage, the damage additions work up. So I'd say you probably want to run a plus slash mod on the Volnus Prime, sadly. We've also got higher status chance. So you're telling me 5 more master rank equates to 2% more crit chance, not even a 2 times crit multiplier, 4% more status chance, and 30 more base damage? No, I feel like that's inappropriate, especially since this thing has no special gimmick. The Piranha Prime, one of the best examples we have of a Prime weapon, when you get I think it's 3 or 4 kills while using the Piranha Prime, it will enter like an exalted state, basically, where a second Piranha Prime, you pull out a second Piranha Prime, you start going ham. You get double the fire rate. I think it even like refreshes the ammo. It's really crazy. So we need more things like that. I would say every Prime Access needs to have one good weapon, because we don't even get if you guys are pretty old players, you might remember the 10-0 reinforcements we used to get, where it was like every couple of weeks, like maybe like once a month or something like that, DE would add new weapons to the game. I believe that's how the Corinth normal came out. It was not even like, because all the weapons nowadays are just tied to big updates. Like, you don't get a new weapon in this game unless it's coming out with like, oh, that's coming out with the Deadlock Protocol, that one's coming out with Call of Tempestarii. We don't get like random weapons in the middle of the week like we used to. So I'd say it's the least DE could do is to focus more on these Prime Accesses, making them more exciting. Here are some easy things you could do. Every 10 kills with the Volnus Prime, you create a glass nova around yourself that turns enemies into glass. That would not be OP. It would be cool. It wouldn't be the exact same thing that the Vitrica has either. The Vitrica will throw a glass projectile and then you can shatter them. Every 10 kills with the Volnus, or maybe every 10 kills with the Volnus, you get a glass shard that when you do a heavy attack, it will throw the glass shard at somebody and make them turn to glass. That would be kind of crappy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they need to make weapons that are actually interesting if they're one of the only things we actually get structured in this game. And like the cosmetics are fine. Like, cosmetics are subjective for the most part. But yeah, I really feel like this is inappropriate. 2% more crit chance is an insult. And I feel like the people who are buying this, they probably just buying it for the platinum and the cosmetics, to be fair. But like, dude, we should be asking for better as a community. The player numbers are pretty good right now, to be honest. There's no reason that like the game is doing all right, all things considered. Like, I know a lot of us might think like, oh, there's no like new stuff coming out, and that's true. We're waiting on some updates here, but I'd say that's the entire reason why I'm having this conversation. It's the only thing that actually comes out reliably, this Prime Access stuff, and it feels like really, really lazy at this point. It feels like they're dialing it in. Well, people will buy it anyway. People like Gara. Like, I'm not mentioning the frame here, because the frame, it's not like the abilities change in the frame. Gara got 40 more armor. Like, whoop-de frickin' do. You already have a bunch of damage reduction on Gara anyway, so the armor's not going to make a huge difference in the long run at all. I think Gara looks like, appearance-wise, all the weapons are great. Like, I'm not complaining about the appearance stuff at all. Gara looks awesome. The weapons look awesome. It's the stats I'm complaining about, and the fact that they're not unique weapons. Honestly, if you look back this year as well, both the Prime Accesses we've had this year, Octavia Prime and Gara Prime, have had very, very dialed-in weapons. The Pandero Prime and the Tenora Prime, those were so dialed in, dude. Did you guys know there was a bug for a little bit with the Pandero Prime? When you use the alt fire on the Pandero Prime, guess what would happen? Well, when you use the Pandero Prime alt fire for the first couple updates after it came out, it would revert to the normal Pandero. It is the definition of a reskin. You use the Pandero Prime alt fire, it becomes the normal Pandero. Like, what? So, like, them saying that, like, it's hard to make Prime Access is unacceptable. It's basically they need to make the skin on it, which I mean, of course, it looks cool. I'm not disputing it looks cool. And then that work is definitely a lot of work there. But making at least one new-ish feeling weapon per update or per Prime Access, I feel it should be the bare minimum. And like, it doesn't have to be a lot. Like the Tenora Prime, that could have had a special gimmick to it as well. Or here's another thing you could also do: make it so these stats are so much higher that it feels like it's pushing a weapon type forward. The hammer weapon type needed a weapon like the Volnus Prime to be top tier. I've been looking at some stats on hammers that people have been telling me about. Did you know that hammers have very low follow-through stat as well? That means that the first enemy you hit will take full damage, the second enemy will take like 40% damage, and the third enemy will take 16% damage. Maybe you should have made it where the Volnus Prime had like full follow-through, and it was just like a really good clearing through enemies weapon. You could have made it where this... you definitely need to give it some crit stats either way. Buff them some more crit stats. It should have been the top-tier MR14 hammer that it is. And don't get me wrong, it can get some pretty good slash procs. I've been testing out a good bit. We'll have a video of it this upcoming week. But I feel like it should have been higher. This is a 2021 Prime Access right now. These guys have been making these things for like 7 or 8 years. The Prime Access weapons. They should know how to build some hype and how to sell some hype at this point. And we're not even talking about... I tried to intentionally not mention the Riven situation at all this video. But basically, I mentioned a little at the beginning. that I'm not even going in on that. I feel like it's inappropriate that the new weapon should be weaker than the original weapon with a Riven. So, yeah, that's basically it for the video, guys. I really feel like something needs to change here. We've had videos on this on the channel before, where I made this exact kind of video in October of 2020, where I said Prime Access needs a buff. We need to have like maybe an Umbra Forma to come out of there. We need to have a like whatever. Some new like Prime mod will come out with the Prime Access or something like that. And here we are, 2 Prime Accesses later, where it's the opposite of becoming better. It's becoming worse. It's the most basic weapons you can think of, basic stat-wise upgrades, and there's no special gimmicks. Like, think of how cool this could be. You get a couple, like, after 5 consecutive hits with the Astilla Prime, you get a Seeker missile that will like release a big glass explosion after like 5 hits or 5 kills or something like that. You get a glass rocket primed and ready. You push the alt fire button, the glass rocket blasts off. It's like the Stalta. Like, these are the kind of things we should be expecting if these are supposed to be the only things we get reliably in this game. So yeah, that's basically it for the video, guys. I hope you found it helpful. Hopefully it channeled some of your rage. Yes, I did enter the 6-digit club recently. And yeah, this is why there was no videos on Thursday or Friday of last week. I was actually very disheartened by seeing how weak the Prime Access release was. I was expecting a lot more, to be honest, especially with the Astilla, or the Volnus. Because here's the thing, is if you look at the other weapons that they've released recently, the Guandao Prime is the most recent Prime melee weapon they released. The upgrades are much more substantial versus the normal Guandao. We're going from we got 4% crit chance and an actual crit multiplier there. Look at that stash chance increase, though. 14% stash chance. Why? Everything is so much better. Unlike the Volnus Prime. This is why I was predicting the Volnus Prime would be top tier. Look at what we have to compare it to. We get a base damage increase, a huge stash chance increase. I think it has longer combo duration as well, and everything, even the attack speed. The Volnus Prime, what happened there? Did they intentionally make it worse? That's what it looks like. Looks like they intentionally made it not as strong as it should have been, which is why I was wrong. I was going off of what they had in the past, and like it just we were talking about the Karis Prime earlier. Let's look at the Karis Prime. This is going to be the biggest one of them all. Of course, the attack speed was reduced, but look at this. We got over double the crit chance, and that's the biggest thing. Also, like 70 more base damage. You trying to tell me the Volnus Prime had to come out the way it did? No. No. And that's going to be it for the video, guys. I hope that you found it helpful, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.